How did this happen? Like,
You really look like the Christmas elves.
with this background. And I also came in a shade of green.
Yeah, we are feeling very sustainable today.
They're like, this is not an episode on sustainability. You are actually a AI plus human or
Yes.
AI plus accountant.
Got it correct. Yeah, basically they expect a robot to come out of the blue and do all of the work for them.
Forget the word AI.
Okay.
What are we using it for? We are using it for saving time and also getting rid of the boring stuff.
They do not even know what they don't know.
Yes. Not
that
every time people want to use AI.
Yeah,
Right?
they need that human assurance.
Yes.
When religious texts come out, there would be nothing on movies because movie theaters don't exist at
Yes,
that point
yes,
of time.
yes. There's hundreds of apps on the phone.
100%.
Oh my god, I need to download one more app. I'm not going for it.
So the door has to open. Maybe it is just somebody standing behind and holding a string, which is thin enough and opening it. It's just the customer experience.
Customer thinks that it's automated.
As long as it's opening when I'm walking, I don't care.
You don't care if it's somebody
if it's
opening
a button
or
if it's like a sensor.
So it's end of the day, people come to you for the results that you give them.
Outcomes. If they're as smart as you, they will not work with you.
They will start their own.
Sales cures all.
Yes.
If you're a phenomenal salesman, you don't need to listen to anybody. You can't claim to have solved all the mysteries of universe. So why do you feel like you should solve all of these mysteries with
Yes,
planning,
yes,
strategy,
yes.
and all
Sometimes
of
it's about just starting off. It's on now. We can start already. Okay.
Oh, it's on.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Bilna Sandeep Show. Today on the show, we have two amazing guests, Gulnar and Gafoor, who are co-founders of PACI, and Gafoor is also part of a few other businesses as well. We will be talking about a lot of those things, but welcome to the show, both of you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Bilna,
Thank
for
you,
having
Bilna.
us.
And I'm going to start off by, how did this happen? Like all of us in green.
This is what happens when you work together for a long time. Your thoughts are aligned. May or may not be a good thing.
So you're like always thinking in the same lines.
Yeah.
But you know what? We actually even were wearing the same bottoms, right? Like black and black. But you know what? So that it doesn't look that weird, we've changed it. But thanks for also bringing in another shade of
I
green.
had no clue you guys would come
Coming
in
into the
green.
team.
So anyway, probably we should release this for Christmas or something.
Yeah, as Christmas promos.
Yes. So now coming back to the whole story about PACI, right? One of the reasons I really started noticing PACI was you are already part of a Homepreneurs Club. And when this corporate tax, the whole thing was going on, right? Everyone were panicking, and I run a marketing agency. So we do a lot of fear-based selling for different kind of brands, be it for accounting or be it for insurance. But your concept and the way you took it was completely different, and you tagged as your neighborhood, your friendly neighborhood accountant.
Yeah.
So tell me about it. Maybe you could start off with that area.
So yeah, I mean, I am a perfect candidate usually for fear-based advertisements. If I see something that says, if you don't register for something, you get 500, even 500, then also I'm there for it. I'm like, yes, please. But I also realized with everybody talking about fines all the time, a lot of small and micro businesses, they lose out on a lot of money and they don't need to. So
Yes.
and they can actually take their time, educate themselves, and then move forward with something. So we decided we'll take on a different approach and sort of educate them. That's why we released an ebook as well, so that
Yes,
if they want,
I remember the ebook had the step-by-step instruction on how do you
Exactly,
register for
yeah.
corporate
so,
tax.
I mean, it goes against my sales target, but at the same time, I wanted people to know they can do it themselves as well.
Yes.
So, not everything has to be fear-based. You can educate people and they'll make that conscious choice. Okay, I'll have experts still do it for me.
Yes.
So as long
So
as
it's
they're
more
aware
like
of it.
they know that there's nothing to be feared about. It's more like they're buying the time. Like maybe they don't have the
Exactly.
time to sit and do it. So
Exactly.
they buy it from you.
Yeah.
Right? What is your take on it?
No, so
on that?
just going to the ebook, right? So essentially, like you said, insurance, accounting, law, these
Yes.
are all seen as boring, fear-based professions that you want to just
Yes.
keep out with, right? But just let's just think of the whole, now you as a content creator,
Yes.
right? The whole content market exploding,
Yes.
digital entrepreneurs exploding. I think having that approach to accounting and finance wasn't something that, that I felt is sustainable for that market. That's why we released that ebook,
Yes.
which is just an illustration on how you could do this yourself.
Yes.
Or if you want us to help, it isn't something that is mind-bogglingly difficult, right? That's why we
It's a
released
simple process, actually.
It's a simple process. We made it into an infographic that you could do it yourself. There have been many people who reached out to us to, I think you yourself said, why didn't you put an email so that
Yes,
you could?
yes.
And I said,
I was like,
that's okay. That's not the.
Because usually when people do freebies, they do it as a download so that they can get the contact details. So you didn't even go to that.
Okay, I think since our viewpoint is that we want to create a brand that looks at accounting for small and micro
Yes.
businesses with a more friendlier, with a more approachable, and with a more tech-oriented
Yes.
thing. We felt that this is the way to go, right? And that's
Okay.
the reason for releasing this ebook free and with illustrations.
Okay, that's nice. Now coming to your tech-based, you mentioned, right? So that is the difference of PACI versus any other accounting firms. It's not an accounting firm you are actually a AI plus human or
Yes.
AI plus accountant.
Got it right. Yes.
So what is that AI? So we were just discussing about the AI, right?
Yeah.
What exactly is AI in terms of accounting?
So obviously between the both of us, he's the one who's in charge of the tech. But I can tell you the questions I get.
I'm sure you get it in the sales calls.
Yeah. So what
Because you
I
go
get,
into the sales part,
the
right?
question is most popular question they have is, what is AI in your business? And it's a whole process. I have to tell them, once you use us or once you see the demo, you'll have a better understanding. But people do not even want to waste time on the demo. They're like, we want to know what AI is.
Just one line. Tell
Yeah,
me.
basically they expect a robot to come out of the blue and do all of the work for them. But there's a lot of back end work involved, and there's
Yes.
a lot of automation and machine learning involved, right? So you will only have a picture of it once you see the product,
Yes.
once you see the demo. But
Yes.
people just want to see that magic trick where I'm pulling a rabbit out of the hat, but in financial terms. But yeah, it's very difficult to get people to listen to you.
Right. So what exactly is it?
So
from your
let's look
side?
at it. AI, right? So AI is a buzzword now. Everybody is,
Yes.
right? Let's just go back. AI is essentially, an extension of machine learning, and machine learning is essentially an extension of statistics and statistical modeling, right? So for us, when we say AI, right, we're looking at AI from a couple of perspectives, right? Forget the word AI.
Okay.
What are we using it for? We are using it for saving time.
The whole
That's-
tool
that's-
as PACI, right?
Saving time of entrepreneur and also getting rid of the boring stuff.
Okay.
Saving time,
And getting rid of the boring
stuff, that means a lot more of his time can be spent in things that he's interested in, things that she started the business for,
Okay.
and all of
The
that.
purpose, going back to the purpose.
But going back to the purpose, right? So for us, AI is essentially transaction recognition, classification, enrichment, and triggers.
Okay.
I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going
Okay.
to explain it in very simple terms. That means you upload a document, it reads it, whatever structure it is. You
Okay.
can, even a piece of paper, you write
like
it.
a small bill that I'm getting from a
Anything,
cafe,
and I'm quite happy to show it
Okay.
right now, right? And it gets not only read, it also gets classified into the right headings,
category, like if it's a marketing
headings,
expense or is it
all of that, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then the categorization into the marketing is where the transaction enrichment. So
Yes.
first you read,
Okay.
you categorize, enrich is this. For
Yes.
example, you go to AdNoc, you put fuel,
Yes.
you have a word bank in there. That
Okay.
means
So
it's
the
I'm
moment-
explaining it
the
really
moment
simple.
they see AdNoc, it is
It's a very
automatically
simple.
going into your transportation or your fuel bill.
Yeah, it's a very simple thing, right? Let's forget AI, right? If I wanted to do it very normally, like with
as
a
a
table,
normal
right?
manual accountant.
Manual this thing. You see AdNoc, you don't need to call anybody.
Yes.
So it automatically, if you put if table A
Equal to AdNoc.
contains AdNoc,
Okay.
then value equal to
Fuel.
Fuel. It's as simple as this. Let's just leave
Right.
the
Yes.
AI. The
So
difference.
everyone should focus on the results they get because of it.
What happens is we've got to write AI
Okay.
because people don't understand
If
this
you
sort
write
of
all this-
explanation.
you can't
of
write
that, right?
if and no can do
Yeah.
explanations.
No, this
right?
is AI essentially,
Yes,
right? This
yes.
is AI. I'm just explaining it in a very
Simplest.
simple format. If you had to do it yourself, right?
Yes.
It's as simple as this, right? Think
Yes.
about it.
Yes.
And the difference comes essentially, we are not focused on AI. We are actually focused on our customer behavior.
Okay.
So next 1 year, what we are looking is not building our AI. No, I'm not. I'm actually looking at building out what my customer wants. Does that mean me asking him what he
Okay,
wants?
okay.
No.
Okay.
Because then they will tell you, because it
is
depends.
your algorithm that studies what they want.
No, not
as
even
per
that,
his
because it's
behavior.
actually observing what they want, right?
Okay.
Because if you ask them, the conversation goes like, I don't know.
Most of
you
the
know,
time they don't know also.
Right? So then you'll ask them, let's take with regard to food.
Yes.
You'll ask them, do you want Chinese or do you want Japanese?
Yes.
You put a close-ended thing there.
Yes.
But if you study them well enough, so in my case, when I order out, right, from
Yes.
Talabat, 70% of the time I'm actually ordering Chinese. But then if you ask me between Indian and let's say Mexican, I may say Indian. But
Okay.
what I really want is Chinese.
Okay.
So that's where you've got to not ask.
And Talabat knows that you need Chinese.
No. Talabat knows. What I'm just trying to say is that
Because
for
it studied your previous behavior, right?
For PACI right now, no, Talabat is studying it in a very algorithm form.
Yes.
We are actually studying this on a more manual thing because
Okay.
we're just launching, right? So we're more studying this on a manual basis really to understand. That's
Okay.
what we're doing right now. We have a preset build of AI tools which we know is good enough for them.
Okay.
And the next, I think 6 months, 7 months, 1 year is observing the customer behavior to really understand and boil down what they want and build that out.
Okay. So you need to understand what they want so that you can actually
Observe what they want.
further develop your platform
Yeah.
to make it much easier for them.
Yeah.
Right. And I think I remember you mentioned once, like when you were in that initial stages of PACI, you were looking at providing it as a tool which they could
Yeah.
use themselves,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And how did the concept of accountant then come in? What was the challenge there?
So that was during our MVP phase where we released just a software like your usual accounting softwares, but it had everything. It was like an everything app.
There were a
for
lot of
finance.
features.
Lot of features. You name it, we had that.
Okay.
So, and it was beautiful. And we were selling it just the software price. You do it yourself. Everybody becomes a finance
Just like
expert.
Zoho books or
Yeah.
cookbooks kind of thing.
Exactly. But we still kept calling it founder friendly. You can do it yourself.
Okay.
But then we realized people did not want to do it themselves.
Okay. They didn't even want to get into the nitty-gritties of accounting. I'm
Exactly.
like,
And like
I
he
just want to save my time.
mentioned, they do not even know what they don't know.
Yes.
Right, so they were like, no, but do we have to do this? Can you do it for me? So even back then, the customer support work we did was just a lot, and we slowly realized after 3-4 months that people don't want to do it themselves. It's
Yes.
always better if they have that assistance. They need an expert telling them what to do, and
Okay.
they are the most comfortable with that. So that's
Got it.
when we realized, we
You
should,
need to have a human
Yeah,
also
not
in
just
between
AI,
the
human
AI.
plus AI, yeah.
Because most people don't want to use the tool that you have built. They want actually
Yeah.
somebody to use it and give them just the result of what they want.
This is actually good news for a lot of those people who get scared that will they lose their job or work because of AI coming in.
But
You
not
always
not
need that
every time people want to use AI.
Yeah,
Right?
they need that human assurance.
Yes.
Because now the last tool that we built, we always had it was on a hypothesis, right?
Okay.
What the hypothesis just was a very simple hypothesis that the existing tools are just slightly more complex than what's required, what is comprehensible and also bandwidth wise that our audience, I'm not
Okay.
saying like a mid-sized business and all of that,
Okay.
could handle from both comprehension and also from a bandwidth perspective. Some of them will have the comprehension,
Okay.
but won't have the bandwidth. Some of them won't have both. Some of them will have
Will
one
have
of them,
both.
right?
Yes, yes.
So we even that version was a lot more simplified essentially, and the reason why we can simplify it is not because the other tools
Had all
no,
this.
it's not that they don't know it, right? You need to understand these are massive global corporations.
Yes.
They know this. It's just that because they're massive global corporations,
They need to
and
cater
then-
to different kind of people probably, right?
Yes, and they also have to address a large range of audiences. This becomes complex. So it's like any religious text. The religious
Yes.
text will initially start by being simple.
Yes.
When religious texts come out, there would be nothing on movies because movie theaters don't exist at
Yes.
that point of
Yes.
time.
Yes.
So then a subtext would have to come,
Yes.
which explains why maybe going for certain movies is not accepted or
Whatever, yes.
certain things because so similarly these have got complex over a period of time because they've been addressing various
Requirements, yes.
We're keeping it thin. We're keeping
You're
it
fully focused on that micro businesses and
micro and smaller.
businesses.
We're saying that if you're beyond that,
You're not fit for PACI probably.
yeah,
right?
we are not fit for PACI
Yeah,
essentially.
They've said no to a lot of people because they seemed like, for example, we had a person come to us who's had his business since I think 2008,
Yeah.
7.
Today,
And-
2010.
Okay.
I said no.
Yeah, so they have a full-fledged team and they still wanted to use us and we had to say no multiple times, saying that you're good to go, you're fine.
Okay, you don't need us. Okay, so
don't
you
need
are
us.
mainly for the micro and SMEs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so what we do is that, see, we also connect to these existing softwares, right?
Okay.
So people say that, but that software has this, that software. I said, okay, so we just connect to those existing
Yes.
softwares. We have the capability to connect to
all that.
all of them. So you mentioned Zoho, Xero,
Yes.
Tally, QuickBooks, Oracle,
You can
Odoo.
integrate with all of them.
Yeah, so we integrated with all of them. So what happens in that case is we simplify.
Okay.
We just give you what's required and what's not. And for the guys who don't have anything, that's where the beauty comes, where you just drag and drop your documents. You have nothing else to do.
And it automatically puts in the
Did
right
I show
place.
you the video of this?
No,
No,
we
I
haven't.
would love to show you the video.
Sure.
All you need to do is drag, drop that to unstructured documents. That means you could drop it. It's not that I give you an Excel sheet that you fill up and upload.
Okay.
You could drag and drop
Anything.
literally anything. Literally anything that looks like a bill, like an expense, like a purchase order, like an invoice, like a...
It will automatically read the
and
document
read and
knows.
it would... you will have some review obviously to do.
Yes.
Right?
And that
over a-
review is the human element that
human
comes
element,
into
but
it.
that's just you reading it. If you don't read it, our accountants read it also.
Yes,
So
yes.
either way, and what we've also done is we've taken out that whole journal entry, this thing, and we've kind
Okay.
of made it like a digital ledger that you
Okay.
can work off.
Okay, nice.
And
nice.
like I said, this is just the beginning of PACI. We're looking at improving this over a period of time, but for that we've got to work with a lot more businesses and
Okay.
then
and
get
understand their problems further, and you can
understand their problems. Right now we have
it.
at least maybe 8-9 features which we are trying to see which to prioritize, and then that keeps
in the development product
that
development
keeps
part.
changing
We
also.
like to include our existing customers in every decision we make. with
Okay,
regards
so you
to
ask them,
features.
you do like a
Yeah.
form, survey, or poll with them, right?
I
Probably.
That doesn't
actually keep
work well.
talking to them.
You just talk to them
Because
and
in
find
the
it.
forms, what they do is sometimes they feel like, oh, I should put this because they perceive that to be the right answer. So
But
then
when you
they put
actually
it,
talk to them, you
For
understand
example,
better.
we had a customer say, yeah, app would be a mobile app would be great.
Okay.
But when I spoke to them about it, they started thinking, like, do we need it? Will we use it? Actually,
Okay.
because when you have that casual or candid talk with them, is when you
You
realize
understand
will they
in
use
depth.
it, what do they need?
Yes, yes.
Is
yes.
it
So
actual problem?
what they need the app, for example, is just for two simple things. They need to upload the documents.
Yes.
And two, they want the communication that which we have in channel to reach them.
Okay.
So if we can find a solution that we found the solution which doesn't need an app, because app involves now another set of dynamics. So
Yes.
you got to get them to download it, and then you've got to get them to log on to it and
Most
use.
people hate apps now because there's hundreds of apps on the phone.
100%,
So
right?
they
And
save
they're
a
like,
lot of
oh my god, I need to download one more app. I'm not going for
So
it.
so our next this thing app. It's not an app that's coming.
Okay.
I don't want to say.
Okay, it's suspense coming.
It's not. In
We
Indian,
just found an easier, and actually people will just like that better than an app.
Okay.
let's
way
call
to
it a more
tackle it.
jugaad way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
So waiting to see the Jugaad
Yeah.
come
So
out.
and
So talking helps. When you talk to your customers, you find out.
It's more about finding out what they actually want.
Yeah, and you also find out sometimes people think going the hard way is the correct way.
Okay.
Right? Only if something is complicated, like a complicated app, is what makes their life easier or is the solution.
Yes.
But sometimes just keep it simple. If there's an easy way to do it, and
Yes.
that you'll only realize the more you talk to your
The
customers.
more you talk,
and
then you understand.
how you can help them.
got it.
So I'm going to say a joke that Gulnar cracked. Itself, right?
I crack a lot of them.
Okay. So essentially, the previous product had a lot more AI and machine learning in it.
Okay.
This one, like I said, we're observing and building out, right? So she's saying that we've got to look at it this way, right? The door has to open. Maybe it is just somebody standing behind and holding a string, which is thin enough and opening it. It's just the customer experience.
Customer thinks that it's automated.
No, it's not about customer things, right? It's not about fooling the customer. It's actually about the customer doesn't really care, right? Customer
He just needs the
it
experience.
just needs his outcome. We've got to build for outcomes, not
Yes.
for features.
So it's not about how you do it, but it's more about what you deliver.
So if for example, if the string works best, why do you want?
Why do you want an automated door then, right?
Right, if the string is the best thing, and then if it's
I
a
just
cheaper
saw
move.
one day it was an automated door and so that there was a security guard standing on the side and opening it. And people were walking, and I'm like, see, this is basically as long as it's opening when I'm walking, I don't care.
You don't care if it's somebody
if it's
opening
a button
or
if it's like a sensor.
So it's the end of the day, people come to you for the results that you
Outcomes.
give them.
Outcomes.
Right? Yes.
We are building this product out for outcomes. We're not thinking. I see a lot of people talk about. That's why when you started talking about AI and what is AI, and I said, okay, let's just
Cool
let's
down,
just
come
cool
down.
down there, right? And then I see a lot of people say this AI, that I'm like, no. Today we're super clear on what the customer wants.
Okay.
We were not earlier.
Okay.
We were just as the last product. I think now I'm wondering. I had built out some crazy
Why did
stuff.
you do that?
I had built out stuff like, when are they going to run out of money? Even now that's there. It's just I put that in the back
You just
burner.
put it on because they don't need it, probably,
Yeah,
right?
they don't need it.
And
And every single person will say they need it.
Yeah.
When
If you ask
ask them,
them-
they're like, yeah, I would like to know.
Yeah. It's
But
more
when-
like I wish to know. Or,
yeah, they'll pay for it.
but they will
also.
not even use it, probably.
Yeah, they
right?
won't use it.
we were part of something called the Startup Wise Guys.
Okay.
Essentially, they are an accelerator running out of Europe.
Okay.
And they selected us at that point of time when I was pitching this whole idea. At that point, we had built out the the first version, and then and we were talking about insights and all of that. And one of the mentors said, "But SMBs don't have insights."
Yes.
I mean, SMBs, he's wrong.
Uh,
M's actually have insights. I don't agree with them.
okay.
But let's call it the small and micro ones. They don't have insights. What insights?
What kind of insights are you going to give them? Like
No,
complicated?
they don't have insights. It's just anything that can be solved with what you called as BODMAS, right?
Yes.
Your within that.
I mean, like a pen and paper.
yeah, so
would
it's
be even
essentially
enough, right?
anything that can be
Yeah.
solved with basic math, arithmetic, percentages is all that they have. They don't have enough data and enough insight. So we had built all of that out, and so
Okay.
we've changed. So when real data comes in and you're looking at what the insights are throwing out, and then it doesn't make sense. You're like, there's no insights here.
Okay.
There is no. Some medium-sized organizations may have. So I remember one of the organizations that I'm running. We had a great year, and then I was quickly looking. So we had outperformed in terms of both revenue and profitability. So then I was just quickly looking. We had a client who was paying us something like annually $70,000-$80,000.
Okay.
I think 50 in that
Okay.
range, yeah. And then we had lost him, and we did not come to know.
Okay. So nobody reported it to you, or
Because
Or you didn't notice it probably,
How are
right?
we reporting? How just think about it. I
Yes.
mean, from a marketing perspective, you're looking at it
Yes.
from an account
Yes.
perspective. But how most of the times we end up looking is P&L, right? P&L,
Yes.
P&L, and you're saying
so as
P&L
long as
balance
there
sheet.
is profitability, you're not going in depth into the numbers,
yeah,
probably.
yes, would that sort of insights work? But these are very far and few and all of that. For an SMB, tell you the truth, for a small business, he actually has literally everything in the back of his head.
Yes.
Or he could write
Yes.
the entire thing on a napkin.
Yes. I'll be like, if I'm sitting here, I know approximately how much money I need to collect in the market, how much is there
Yeah,
in
so
my
you-
bank, all these things come,
So
right?
your job is to kind of, so what we are doing is just closing a very small gap that's there in terms of automating certain activities
and making
giving
a structure
him some
to it,
more
probably.
structure,
Yes.
giving them a bit more understanding.
Giving more time.
While you know, we're just putting that out in front of you.
Yes.
You
it's
know
more
it.
like an assurance to him. Okay, this is
You
actually
probably
in
know
my
you
back
would
of
have-
the mind is right.
Yeah.
Because you just mentioned, you know what you have to collect, you know
Yes.
what you have to pay. But again, you're doing everything
All
in
in
your
the
mind,
head.
and you
Yes.
have to also keep track of everything yourself.
At some point, you will be like, oh, well, am I right? Am I missing something?
and
So that
you
is
know,
where PACI
sometimes
comes in.
this leads to you losing money also because you don't collect something fast
Yes.
enough.
And it has happened also to me.
Yeah.
a lot
will
of
happen.
times.
It will
Yes,
happen to
yes.
everybody
It has
if they're
happened.
trying to do it
Yes,
themselves.
yes.
Yeah.
And the moment.
Forget doing it yourself. Even if you have a person, which some of the businesses we have people, and
Yes.
it would happen.
Your eyes may not always reach everywhere, right? You might overlook because there's something else that is a priority that has come up.
That's since you mentioned it, the priority and all of that. When we build this out, it's a very, very. I'm just going back to my, work experience and coming back. So, I worked in a large organization here. Went all the way from trainee to director. Then I got out, because of various family had called me for something, and I got out because of that. And then I set up some small businesses, right? When I set up small businesses, what happens? You realize that you can't afford specialist resources.
Yes.
Right?
That's a fact.
It's a
That's
fact.
because it's
And then
always,
you
do you
also
have the
cannot
money to do that,
And plus, you cannot also afford to hire somebody who's as smart as you.
Yes, that is also a fact.
You've
Yes.
got to accept. If they're as smart as you, they will not work with you.
They will start their own.
They start their own, or they look somewhere else, right?
Yes.
Essentially,
Yes.
Unless
most
you have
times.
a spouse that you can just hire.
Like what happened in
Yeah,
PACI.
we're gonna get there. So what will happen is that all of these businesses will run with, even if they get to 10, 15, they run with admin people.
Yes.
And this admin people will do everything from sending invoices, calling for payments, sending couriers. If you ask them, can you pick my
Even
wife
social
up?
media.
Yeah, wife up from the airport, can you
Yes.
send her flowers? Everything they would do.
Yes.
Right? And this is how essentially a lot of these smaller ones operate.
Yes.
Right? And it's actually for them that we build out, because these people will not have the specialist.
They cannot afford to have a full-time resource sitting at office and who is specialized in finance.
Because it's not, even if they can afford, they want them to do something else also.
It's more about how much I can make out of that person who's
And the
come
sad
in, right?
thing being, the person is probably the most hardworking person there is, and
Yes.
doing everything to its maximum
Maximum
capacity,
level.
But still, things are falling apart.
Yeah,
right?
because he's getting too many things on his head.
Yeah,
probably,
and not
right?
a qualified professional at the end.
Too
of
many
the day.
broad things, right?
Yes,
Because
yes.
you're asking them one day to send a offer letter.
Next-
Think about it. You would
yes,
have asked, right?
yes.
You would have said, hey, I like this. No, it's a sequence
So
very
many
simple.
things you get the person to do that at one point maybe it's on
That's a very
Christmas
simple
morning,
sequence.
or in the morning you feel like they become part of the family as well, because they're like, oh,
We are very close. It's not like a too many number
yeah,
of
so
employees,
it
probably,
gets-
right?
It's like murky waters. You don't know, like, is he an employee? Is he like, the roles are so many that it's difficult to have it structured. And
Yes.
when it comes to a business environment, you need things to be structured.
Yes. Now coming to the structure, I want to ask you the question which we were discussing before. Remember we had a discussion on like when you're starting a business, you want to have the strategy, the plan and everything. And you also see businesses who just start like selling like something very simple as some plates or whatever, utensils. And they don't have a lot of big strategies. They just start a shop and they just fly off. So what does that take?
So I'm
there,
going
you
to
know?
say something that's very interesting. Okay. Sales cures all.
Yes.
Okay. If you're a phenomenal salesman, till a point, you don't need to listen to anybody. Till a point.
Till
right?
a point, right? Maybe in the scaling up to that.
Up
or-
to like I said, till a point you don't need to listen. You will drive the organization forward. That salesperson.
as long as you can be full time in that organization,
yeah,
probably,
and then
right?
you will drive that entire thing. It is for people such as me who can't sell,
Yes.
right? Who we start off with thinking about structure and planning, and then we're thinking, can I run a few email marketing so that I don't need to go to people and talk to them,
Yes.
right? But so that's what, when we are seeing all of these guys who, like you said, who's just selling the plate. He knows to sell. He
Yes.
doesn't need anything else.
He doesn't need the whole round of strategy, sales questionnaire, or CRM or anything.
He doesn't
the
need.
idea that he had that's also a blessing, right? To come up with simple ideas like that.
Yes.
You know what? I was just going to sell plates.
Yeah.
that happens. That I think we are giving them too much credit. I'm going to as we said, they're awesome. They also, this is what you call as I think entrepreneurship can be kind of divided into like a natural extension entrepreneurship and also what you can call as this is not defined. It's just something
It's
that I'm
from your side.
saying. And also what I would call as forced entrepreneurship or thought out entrepreneurship, and where I sat for 6 months to think to do PACI. Like 6-7 months I was sitting. I did a course
ideation.
I did a course on AI in fintech. And then I got really confused. I read 4 books and then I went like 5 different directions and all of that. Now with this person who sells plates, he probably would have been in an organization that was selling plates, and he would know
Exactly
where to get it
and where
what's, what's the margin, and he would be selling it. So lots of times in those kind of cases, it's an opportunistic entrepreneurship. Let's call it.
Yes, it's more like he saw that is now I have learned how to source it and how to sell it. I'm going to start it.
That's it, right? What we are doing is what you call as forced, right? And that's where there's a lot of planning, and
complications,
reiteration, and XYZ. Because the other place he already knows. Listen, you know what? My company is buying this plate for 10 dirhams, selling it for 25, and is full of business. What if I just take it for 10 dirhams and I can sell it for 20? There would be X amount of customers who are interested. He could just start with a very simple value proposition there. Or he could also see, you know what, my company could buy the plate from somebody who's better.
Yes.
Right? So there's a lot of opportunistic entrepreneurship. There's a lot of things that happen there. Let's not always chalk all of
it's more like
chalk all of this down to skill alone. A lot of it is also paths that open up to you. I don't want to call it luck, right? It's kind of like a paths that open up to you, and sometimes during a certain journey you land somewhere and a door opens, and
then you just start into it.
Yeah, so not everything, it's like universe, right? You can't claim to have solved all the mysteries of universe. So why do you feel like you should solve all of these mysteries with planning, strategy, and all of that?
Sometimes it's about just starting off.